Lions Council of India, I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to this afternoon's panel discussion, as well as this exposition to what Lions are doing across the world. Lions in India, as you will soon learn, believe that where there's a need, there's a lion. And that is our philosophy. We are men and women working to make the world a better place. Today's panel discussion on corporate community and sustainability, because we are looking for an agenda of today for a better tomorrow. How can we serve better? How can we make the world a better place? And how, as volunteers, can we continue to make that difference? That is what the Lions are looking at. Without much ado, may I invite our international directors, V.K. Ladhia and Vamsidhar Babu, to please join us on stage, along with our board appointee, past international director Vijay Raju. I would like to invite Srimati Harshita Narvekar, as they say, the voice of the women. She is social worker and corporator, BMC Mumbai, and definitely a woman of substance. Welcome to this gathering, Harshita ji. I would also like to invite Shri Rahul Narvekar, the Honorable Speaker of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, to this gathering. May I request our International Third Vice President, Line AP Singh, to please join us on stage. I would request our International Director, Vamsidhar Babu, to please welcome Shri Rahul Narvekar ji. And Vijay ji, if you would do the same with Harshita ji, please. May I request our International Director, V.K. Ladhia, to do a formal welcome to all of you.
A very good evening to all of you. I extend hearty welcome to all the participants here, and I'd like to brief about the Lions Club International, not in detail, but what we are doing with UN particularly. Lions Club International was one of the first non-governmental organizations invited to assist in formulating the NGOs section of UN Charter and participate in developing its humanitarian mission. UN granted LCI consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council. For generations, LCI and the UN have shared many common goals and worked together to further peace and prosperity. Each year, LCI celebrates Lions Day with the United Nations for showcasing the work of Lions, Leos, and partners towards the UN's mission. At the 30th Annual Lions Day with the United Nations in 2008, Lions Club International took its long-standing relationship with the UN to a new level. During the 20th century, people had made huge progress in science, education, medicine, and human rights. But at the start of the new millennium, many developing countries found their poorest citizens still struggling to obtain food and water. Women and children often suffered the most from the lack of basic necessities, education, and health care. In 2000, world leaders came together at UN headquarters in New York and committed to reducing the disparity by 2015 through 8 Millennium Development Goals. LCI President Amar Surya signed a letter of intent representing the association's commitment to help meet the 8 Millennium Development Goals that included eradicating poverty, achieving universal primary education, promoting gender equity, reducing child mortality, ensuring environmental sustainability, and combating various diseases. We welcome you all to this roundtable, which we believe will provide us with the next steps forward. In India, LCF supported Indian launched social mobilization and advocacy activities during the multi-year Missiles Rebels campaign that took place in all Indian states and union territories and aimed at vaccinate over 400 million children. Lions run programs for midday meals, provide nutritious meals free of cost for at high subsidized rate through their network of clubs. During the period April 2020 to June 2021, Lions clubs provided over 10 million meals in India during the peak of COVID-19. Our commitment stems from our motto, we serve, and our belief that where there is a need, there is a line. We look forward to thought-provoking discussions that will help Lions Club frame policies for future programs. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Director Ladia. And now, may I invite to hear the roar of a woman who makes, I believe, and I hear, Mumbai shake. Harshita ji, the floor is yours.
That is very kind of you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Rahul, our Honorable Speaker of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, Shri Rahul Narvekar ji, respected Arvinder Pal Singh ji, International Third Vice President, Lions International, our esteemed panelist, Mr. Ketan Deshpande ji, Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi ji, Mr. Anjan Mukherjee ji, Mr. Rajendra Pawar ji, Dr. Jitendra S. Ramgaonkar ji, Mr. Pankaj Mehra ji, Ms. Sangeeta Jatia ji, and the august gathering. Today, I'm honored to speak to you about my goal, mission, vision, and contribution to the SDG goals. Specifically, I will focus on the SDGs. Those are the 4 SDGs are zero hunger, which is goal number 2, good health and well-being, which is goal number 3, quality education, which is goal number 4, and climate action, which is goal number 13. We're grateful to the Lions Club International for taking up these SDGs to create awareness and positive attention towards these serious issues. This too is at an exciting time when India is actually, it has the honor of the presidency of G20 under the Honorable Prime Minister's leadership. And India has the advantage of gaining valuable insights, resources, and investment through increased visibility in return in this forum of G20. My goal as a social worker and corporator is to make Mumbai a better place to live in. Our mission should be to ensure that every citizen of Mumbai has access to basic necessities such as food, health, education, and a clean environment. So it coincides with our country's mission under the able leadership of Honorable PM Narendra Modi ji. The vision should be to create sustainable cities, resilient cities, where people can thrive and live in harmony with nature. One of the SDGs that I'm truly passionate about is climate action. Mumbai is a city that is prone to heat waves and the increase in temperature. Due to climate change exacerbates the situation which we are experiencing currently with increased temperatures, with unseasonal rains, etc. To combat this problem, I've been actively involved in promoting the Miyawaki. It is a Japanese method of plantation, of dense plantation in Mumbai, and I can proudly say that I was a pioneer in terms of the first Miyawaki plantation was done in Colaba Woods in my constituency in 2019. So I'm very happy to share that. According to a study conducted by the IIT, the Miyawaki method of afforestation can result in up to 30 times more carbon sequestration than traditional methods. So you are combating, air pollution, improving the air quality, as well as you are increasing the biodiversity. In this, you also have a lot of soil enrichment, which makes the groundwater level, rise up, and that is a very good method to mitigate flooding, which is again a climate, emergency or an urgent need in the thing. As we all know, climate change is one of the most significant threats facing our planet. The rise in global temperatures, melting ice caps, and extreme weather events are all evidence of the urgent need to take action to mitigate the impact of climate change. So being part of the Mumbai G20 committee, we're happy to state that Mumbai will be hosting 3 committees, which will be working group committees, which is energy transitions, environment and the climate sustainability, and disaster risk reduction in this month of May. So we will be hosting 3 working group committee meetings of the G20 in this in the city. As we all know, apart from climate action, we're also working towards achieving the SDGs, such as zero hunger, good health and well-being, and quality education. To achieve these goals at my level, I'm actively involved in various community initiatives, such as providing free meals to the underprivileged, organizing health camps, and conducting educational programs in the slums and rural areas. Through these initiatives, we've been able to provide basic necessities to those in need, promote health and well-being, and improve the quality of education. We regularly screen people for various health conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, and cancer with free medications via health camps, which are regularly held in quarterly basis. I believe that these are foundations of a sustainable society, and by achieving these goals, we can create a better future for our generations to come. As I conclude my speech, I cannot help but feel overwhelmed with emotion, because when I started on this journey, I had a small dream of making a difference in the world. Today, I stand before you, humbled and grateful for the opportunity to share my contribution. Each one of us has a unique role to play in making the world a better place. We may have different backgrounds, experiences, and challenges, but we share the same planet and the same dream for a better future. So my contributions to the SDGs are not just a matter of statistics or numbers. They represent a journey of hope, perseverance, and determination. They represent the joy of seeing a child smile after receiving a nutritious meal, the relief of a patient receiving medical attention, the awe of witnessing a small sapling grow into a mighty tree. So I urge all of you to join in this journey, to take a step forward, to lend a helping hand, and to make a difference in someone's life. Let us not wait for tomorrow. Let us act today. Let us create a world where every person has access to basic needs, where every child receives quality education, where every patient receives healthcare, and where the planet is sustainable for generations to come. Thank you, and let us continue to work towards a better tomorrow and be a part of driving the change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It almost sounded like a Lion member speaking, right? Absolutely, and those are definitely our goals. And the fact that your goals and our goals match, that is what will take this country forward and definitely make our world a better place. With this, I would like to invite Shri Rahul Narvekarji, the Honorable Speaker of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, to please address this House.
Good evening, friends. Present here today for this conference on sustainable development goals and the role of corporates in achieving the same. Honorable Shri Arvind Pal Singh Ji, Harshita Narvekar Ji, all the dignitaries present here on the dais, and dignitaries present in this august gathering. At the outset, I would like to welcome you to this summit, to this conference, to this session for deliberation, which is being conducted in my home city of Mumbai, which I also represent in the State Assembly. And therefore, I would first like to welcome all of you all to the city of Mumbai and to this conference. Having said that, I must express that it would be a complete disservice if I wasn't to applaud the efforts taken by the Lions Club in fulfilling the aspirations, desires and needs of not just my countrymen, but of humanity and human beings all over the world. So, I would first like to congratulate them for the various endeavorances they've taken up in the past several years for making this world sustainable, for making this world harmonious, and for making this world a better place to live in. Having said that, the Lions International has played an extremely important role in ensuring that the Lions Club or the group as such functions meticulously to achieve the aims and objectives with which this institution, this organization has been founded. Actually speaking, the role of any government, the duties of any government, the objectives of any government cannot be completed and fulfilled without the active participation of citizens who find themselves to be responsible for the well-being of mankind. And I believe that Lions Club is one such organization which walks hand in hand, assists at every point of time, every government with whom they work. And therefore, like the Maharashtra government and the government of India, I'm sure that governments and administrations around the world applaud the efforts of this institution and this organization. The theme of today's deliberation, which deals with sustainability, which deals with responsibility of corporates to achieve this sustainability, is a perfect recipe for creating a better world, for creating ideas and for providing ideas to policymakers like ourselves. And therefore, I'm thankful to you all for taking up these issues, which shall definitely result in creating a platform of providing ideas to various governments and administrators. As we all know, there is no walk of life that can be kept away from sustainability. May it be manufacturing, may it be providing services, may it be agriculture, may it be construction, nothing can be fruitful unless it is sustainable. And let me admit that politics is also not too far from this. We've seen in the near past, when alliances are not sustainable, what happens to them? So, there is absolutely no walk of life that is kept away from the concept of sustainability. In the State Assembly, almost every session, we have deliberation, discussions, heated ones, on the issue of farmer suicides, on the issue of natural calamities such as droughts, famine, earthquakes, floods, etc. And we spend days together deliberating as to how we can resolve this situation, what is the compensation that we should provide to people who've been affected by these calamities. But the root cause that I see and the solution that I see for all these questions is addressing the issue of sustainability. If we introduce sustainability in every aspect or task that we take up, I'm sure we can spend the time of the assembly and different legislative forums for many other purposes as well. So I think sustainability is the key to achieve what I've just said. Insofar as sustainability is concerned, the goals which you all have put forth today for discussion, I think are extremely meaningful and definitely deserves a lot of deliberation. And I'm sure that by the time we finish this session, this conference, this deliberation session, I'm sure we'll come up with ideas which are going to assist not only the government of Maharashtra and the government of India, but the world at large. So I once again congratulate you all for conducting such a fruitful, meaningful and productive deliberation in the city of Mumbai, which seriously requires a good dose of sustainability. I thank you once again for having me here today, and in any event, I'm looking forward to hearing some fruitful deliberation. And being the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, I'm often reminded that being the Speaker, I'm supposed to listen more and speak less. So I'll leave it at that. My best wishes to the Lions International, my best wishes to the participants of this conference, and I convey my best regards and wishes to the dignitaries who are going to come here and dispense some knowledge on the issue of sustainability. Thank you for having me here once again. Good day. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you so much, Rahul ji. That was indeed wonderful. Now may I request our International Third Vice President, AP Singh, to please respond to our guests.
Most Honorable Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly, Rahul Saab, a prominent social worker in the city of Mumbai in the state of Maharashtra, Harshita ji, and my dear friends. It's all about living up to a commitment which is unwritten, and a commitment which states that we must leave this world slightly better than what we inherited. This is a commitment to the future generations. Each one of us must always remember, and we do realize, but sometimes things which are so patently visible are often forgotten, is that we have just one planet. We don't have a second opportunity. And in doing that, we as individuals who are so fortunate enough today, with the blessings of God Almighty, and with whatever our destinies have given us, we must realize that there is a payback that we must ensure towards our communities. It's that commitment that we must discharge, it's that obligation that we must discharge, that we try to accomplish through the membership of a Lions Club. Every individual who you see who wears this Lions emblem, the badge, wears it with a pride, and in doing so we send out a message to our own friends, our own families, and to everybody at large that we are responsible citizens of our own country. Sir, Lions believe there's a difference between being a citizen of a country and being a responsible citizen of a country. We were born in this country, and so we are naturalized citizens. But we believe that it's an ethical issue beyond which we cannot travel, that our care and concern must extend beyond our biological families. Our care and concern must extend to every child in this country, to every mother in this country to whom pre- and postnatal care is denied, because every child who misses an education, we are not sure whether the child is the next Mother Teresa or the next Kalam or the next Tagore that we are missing. We do not know, but we need to make sure that every child has that opportunity. Most Honorable Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, the country is making tremendous strides, and that brand India image is beginning to emerge, and rather I would say has really so well emerged on the global scale. India is today the 5th largest economy. I was among some friends in Australia just a few days ago, And they asked me, and this was the question that was posed, do you believe that India is now the rising tiger? I said, give us 10 more years. We are number 5 today. You might see us right at the top. I don't think we'll take time more than that. With the kind of leadership that we have in this country today, and the youth of this country, the youth that is in this country today, they are so productive, their minds are so fertile, and they are so committed to restoring that place of honor amongst the comity of nations of the world, the place of honor that always belonged to our nation. Sir, we continuously look forward to working closely with the state and the central level, because we believe individuals who are successful in their professions, in their occupations, whatever they do, believe that we owe something to the communities and we want to do something. But we also understand that doing will not be possible unless we do it collaboratively with our governments, with our civic authorities. We have close to 300,000, close to 3 lakh members in around 8,500 clubs in all states and union territories of India. And these are individuals, each one of them are at a very wonderful level with the grace of God Almighty in whatever they are doing, but they are ready to volunteer their time, they are ready to bring forth their resources, they are ready to serve their country as true individuals, as I said, as responsible citizens. We are grateful to our speakers today for participating, and we will listen to their views towards what can be done towards the accomplishment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Basically, whatever Lions do fits into one of the sustainable goals, because whatever we do is ultimately for the community's welfare. So, sir, we look forward to working closely with your government and governments at and our government at the center, because we believe there are still miles to go before we sleep. We are at number 5 today globally. We've got 4 more steps to go up. Those steps are very important. But if, as our international president says, together we can. This is what our President Brian Sheehan says. And if we work together, we can surely go up those 4 steps, and we can do it perhaps faster than even in a decade. We look forward to the opportunities that may come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That brings us to the close of this first part of these discussions. I would like to recognize the presence of our past international directors, Raju Manwani, JP Singh, and Praveen Chajar, our council chairpersons, district governors-elect, council chairpersons-elect, and so many line leaders who've joined us today for this event. Today, they are here physically, but most importantly, Lions across the country are watching this show as it is being aired live on CNBC TV18. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and may I request you to please join us as we will now move on to the panel discussions. So Lions, let's get ready for an invigorating panel discussion. And to take that forward, may I request Mugdha Kalra to please take the stage.
Am I audible? Yes. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As I wait for all my panelists to get wired, this is a great opportunity to meet once again all of you. I was also part of the first roundtable discussion that happened in Ahmedabad, and I had the opportunity to interact with several LAN members there, and also various experts who were present to talk to us about corporates, community, and sustainability. And today I wish to take the conversation forward with my guests. So inviting on stage Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi, Head Corporate Sustainability, Larsen & Toubro. Oh, you're still getting mic'd up? All right, we'll wait for a second. So we shall shortly have with us all the guests. We have today with us Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi. He's from Larsen & Toubro. We have Ketan Deshpande. He's the founder and chairman of CEO Fuel. Anjan Mukherjee, who's founder Taratech Solutions. Rajendra Pawar Sahab from he's a former water secretary from the government of Maharashtra. Dr. Jitendra Ramgaonkar, IFS, Conservator of Forest and Field Director, Taro Banderi, and of course, Mr. Pankaj Mehta, past District Governor, Lions Club, will be joining us shortly. I'm just waiting for all of them to get their mics up, and then they'll be here. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi, Head Corporate Sustainability, Larsen & Toubro. Yes, sir. Pankaj, on that chair. Ketan, if you could come here.
Yeah.
Jitendra, आप इधर आ जाइए. राजेंद्र जी, आप इधर आ जाइए. All right. Yes, thank you, ma'am. A big round of applause for all the dignitaries who are here, our panelists for today's roundtable. A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the second roundtable discussion in the Road to Restore initiative of Lions International, where we are talking about corporates, community, sustainability, agenda of today for a better tomorrow. And today I think Rahul ji and Harshita ji spoke so well and set the spirit and tone of the evening about how sustainability is needed, and sustainability is needed in a good dose. I'm very happy to be here, and we are going to talk about some of the issues that are related at the moment with climate change. And it is imperative that we act now and we address them. And in this dialogue, today we will talk about the role of corporates, how to recognize the climate crisis at the moment. And a lot of times we find ourselves saying that how does it affect me? Or how is it affecting where I'm living? Or how is it affecting my life? But if you just look at the city of Bombay, the flash floods, the soil, your beaches, your marine life, everything is getting affected today. We are seeing construction dust every single day. We are hoping that by the year 2025, all the construction is coming together and we'll be able to breathe. But you know, I used to take a lot of pleasure while speaking to people in Delhi कि आप लोग तो furnace में रहते हैं, आप लोग तो ऐसी जगहों पर रहते हैं जहाँ बहुत धूल है. And right now we are again in Bombay facing the same problems. But we are hoping that when we talk about development and when we talk about sustainability, we are somewhere looking at creating that balance. All right, with that, Ketan.
Oh, you put me the spot?
Yes. Yeah, because you are leading a huge community. And today when we are talking, even with Lions, the conversation is about how communities can come together and understand why we need to work together, why we need to collaborate, how do we upskill ourselves, how do we educate ourselves. When we talk about Fuel, Fuel stands for Friends Union for Energizing Lives. How did the community come about, and what are some of your goals that are aligned with this new dialogue?
Well, thank you, Mugdha. And I think learning gives creativity, and creativity leads to thinking. And all young people want to do something for the nation. That's what is coming out. And if you see all the startups which are coming in, the average age is quite less than 30, probably, who are doing it. And in the same way in the social sector, the average age of catering the social problem is also getting reduced. The amount of non-profits, the amount of social entrepreneurs, and the CSR funds which are available are getting the creativity out for getting that problems at the grassroots. And complaint starts with they, solution starts with I. That kind of change is happening at the grassroots. And because of that, when I started Friends Union for Energizing Lives, a bunch of young people wanting to do difference in the community was the mission. And today when we look at that, more than 1 million youth we have reached, reaching out to young people to skill them, get them that jobs. I have seen cases where first generation learners, farmers' children, they all want to acquire skills. And let me tell you, they're very hungry for success. They want to aspire for the new technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence, digital marketing, or Make in India, Skill India, or Digital India. Right. Whatever it is, they want to make the Indians grow. And we are seeing that the human resource capital of our nation is increasing, as a result of which there is a change and transformation happening. And what Lions is actually doing is creating that effort at the grassroots by donating their philanthropy, by donating their time to make that last mile connectivity happen. And in India, where we have 130 crore population, only 35 crore jobs, what does the rest 100 crore do? So entrepreneurship is the next way to it. And I think what a perfect time for our nation with G20, entrepreneurship and sustainability coming all together and making that difference. So I visualize that it's the right time for many entrepreneurs to invest. And also it is very critical for human resources to upgrade their skills, and especially with ChatGPT, everything coming in, I think it's time for us to take that pledge. So I really acknowledge and resonate with what Lions is doing. And it's time for all of us to come together and make it happen.
Wonderful. That's a great note to start our conversation with, because we are also seeing that upskilling today has to include what our goals on sustainability are. So even if you are, we were talking to, in fact, it was the last session in Ahmedabad that we were talking to the founder of Sathi. And he said something very interesting. He said, बड़ी कंपनियों के लिए इस बारे में सोचना जो है वो ज्यादा कठिन है और छोटी कंपनियों के लिए कम, क्योंकि छोटी कंपनियां शुरू से ही सस्टेनेबिलिटी गोल्स के बारे में सोचकर आगे चल सकती हैं, वर्सेस व्हेन यू क्रिएट अ प्रॉब्लम विद योर प्रोडक्ट एंड देन यू थिंक ऑफ हाउ डू आई फिक्स दिस. So that was, I think, a great takeaway where when we are talking about the young and when we are upskilling them and when we are teaching them the lesson of entrepreneurship, perhaps all the ESG goals have to be included from the very beginning as they start. Great start there from Fuel. Mr. Pradeep, L&T, I've followed L&T's work, and especially your work in diversity and inclusion with women. And I have to say some very, very good, fantastic work happening there. Even though L&T is, if you think about it, you might just think, oh, it's men. But coming to the sustainability side, and that's the vertical you had, sir, carbon neutral by 2040 and water neutral by 2035. These are your goals. Plus multiple sustainability programs run with women group with the Lakshya initiative. Please do tell us about how a corporate like yours is integrating the sustainability goals in such a beautiful way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mugdha.
Yeah, they. Yeah.
All right. So,
that's fine, sir.
Yeah.
They will do.
Rightly said, Mugdha. You see, it's a massive organization, and anything big, anything like the Statue of Unity, or the Motor Stadium, one of the soccer stadium, the World Cup soccer stadium, anything big is associated with the L&T. And everybody follows L&T as a big construction measures. But such a massive organization with its own challenges, more than 1,000 project sites. So how do you approach this organization? Massive amount of spread, different part of the world. How do you approach that? In fact, it's so interesting that the top management is so closely involved with the entire process. The chairman is involved, the CEO and the managing director, Mr. S.N. Subramaniam, is personally involved. The board is involved, the board committee is involved, and so this is how it starts. So they're taking their personal time to understand and to plan and to act. And Mugdha, I'll cite an example. When we started this journey of declaring to become carbon neutral by 2040, it took us roughly 9 months, to really get down to the field and to, and know everything that is happening and to make the plan. And Mr. S. N. Subramanian was personally involved in the entire process in the 9 months. And then finally, October 2021, he declared that we'll become carbon neutral by 2040 and water neutral by 2035. Having said that, there is already a very strong base. Like in last more than a decade, we have saved energy to the tune of 150 million kilowatt hour, which if you translate into the real use, you can power 70,000 homes per year, right? So that's the kind of scale we have. So it is not about only commitment to climate. It is about how you make it happen, how you really implement projects, really implement green technologies, so that you really decarbonize your systems. Right. So we have, for example, you have taken a goal of improving efficiency by 2.5% every year. We have taken a goal of 50% renewable energy of the total electricity used by 2026. And we have got down to the details. Each and every project we are assessing and trying to find out where we can actually implement the projects and then enable this decarbonization to happen. So in a nutshell, I would say that the involvement of the top management, middle management, and people even to the ground level makes a lot of difference. And how you understand the problem and how you act on it, how you make the plan, and also also understanding the bigger picture, how you can make a difference. Right. In a growing economy, you are a major player, and how you can make a difference to your company, to the state, to the country, and to the world. I think that purpose itself is driving everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's top down, bottom up.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Wonderful. Anjanji, if I can get you in now into the discussion, let's talk about the global safe water crisis, right? And according to the numbers quoted, in fact, on your website, and I was looking at the work that you're all doing, at least 2 billion people who are using drinking water are drinking water from sources contaminated by fecal matter. That's one of the statistics that have come. And it has been estimated that by 2025, nearly half of world's population will be living in water-stressed areas. What do we make of this? These are really disturbing numbers, and a lot of time people don't even realize, the ones living in cities, etc. We never face those crises, and so we think we don't have a crisis, right? But what does it mean for businesses to come together and to address this issue, and what is happening in the organization?
Firstly, hello. Yeah. Firstly, let me tell you the situation is actually very scary. I keep moving around in rural areas. In the last 7 years, I've been to around 300 villages. And before that, 7 years back, I was a total Mumbaikar with having no idea of an Indian village. But the last 7 years just opened my eyes. What a absolutely crazy world we are staying in. In Bombay, water is just taken for granted. But in villages, for every single glass of water, it's a struggle. And for every single glass of safe water, it's an even bigger struggle. I was actually working in the industry and with a particular technology. And then I just chanced to visit a village where, I saw there were a lot of kids who were stunted. And on further seeing what was happening, I realized it's all because of diarrhea which they contracted when they were young. And then I realized that, the technology which I am working on can actually have a bigger impact if I can tailor it to the rural areas and really the have-nots. And that's how we came upon a particular device which can dispel safe water to the really, really underprivileged at a ridiculously low cost. And it just requires a few thousand rupees for the device, and then that's it. It doesn't require any maintenance or operating cost, and it's there for life. So that's what we have achieved. But looking at sustainability, this is actually a mindset more than driven from somewhere or whatever. And each of us should see that whatever we are doing, if we can do it in such a way that after the job is done, it doesn't tax the future generations. Because if that has become a mindset, then, and it has to come from the grassroots. So how do you sensitize all the people that is the way you have to think? Then I think we would have achieved whatever needs to be achieved in sustainability, all the SDGs, whatever. And I'm sure organizations like Lions, including the government, if they can help in sensitizing this thing, I think we would have done our job.
So you make an interesting point there. And yes, it has to be, as we said, and we have been harping on the collaborative effort of it. Let me get the government's perspective here. Rajendra ji, what are the biggest challenges? We spoke about corporations. So what are the biggest challenges that the government itself faces when they are looking at a crisis of that big nature? And how does it come together with various stakeholders? Whether it is communities, whether it is corporates, but primarily, for government, what are the challenges while looking for these communities and collaborators? And what are the big challenges in the larger frame of water scarcity and contaminated water?
Yep. I look at this topic of development at a broader level, macro level. See, for any development, we need water, food, energy, and human resources. But it's a nexus. We cannot separate each of these from each other. So, we are already having water scarcity in India. It is said by 2030, almost 40% of India will be a water scarce country.
After one crop, run away from that villages and town. They don't know what to do. This one single check dam is not only providing drinking water, it's not only providing farming and not one crop. Now they can take 3 crops in a year. The children are settled. It is a sustainable, the kind of ripple effect it has got is something which you cannot think of. I'm talking about water. If you talk about environment, recently launched by our Vice President and the team, e-waste project. I mean, all the lines are aware over here. Tons of e-waste has been collected, and I'm sure for time to come, it's going to be a permanent activity as far as we are concerned. We are talking about, sir, the children, the youth. I mean, I can go on and on. One particular thing I wish to talk over here is Lions Quest. Sir, you said you have touched the youth of 1 million people. 1 million talking about. We have a fantastic program. We call it Empowering Mind and Enriching Life. It is meant for all the adults, and we wish to join hands with you. We wish to join hands with you, and from your 1 million, if they are developmentally, if they are developed emotionally, if they are developed socially, I think that is a very much important part beyond the education, where in formal education nobody teaches this. We are here, I personally feel, Mugdha-ji, that yes, we are doing, I'm roaring a lot, but we are looking for partnership. We are looking for partnership, and from this platform, this house, and the people are listening. I think you tell us what to do. We have globally 14 lakhs. In Bombay, in India itself, around 3 lakhs. We are looking for new ideas. We are looking for new ways of doing. We have resources with your resources, our what you call, proven volunteers who have never failed, It's the time-tested, transparency, everything exists over here. My only humble request to my panelists, to people listening, that let us do something. And if I have time, I can go on and on. I've got long list of projects over here. I can go on and on this. I've got long list of projects over here. But thank you so much for giving the opportunity. Back to you.
A big round of applause for that and for that. And Fuel, you have a partnership right here in the making.
Thank you.
My question when it comes to corporates, Pradeep, is that, a lot of times the companies are so huge, they don't know where to start from. A change requires a lot of will, a lot of money as well. There is a cost to it. But at the same time, there is business cost for sustainability as well. And there's a business cost for doing these practices and following these practices, because your investors are also now looking at a different prototype when they want to invest their money in. They want to be invested in corporates and causes that are aligned with them. How should a company then bring the two together? And how important is public infrastructure in the narrative of sustainability?
Absolutely. See, I'm in this field for more than almost 30 years. And, everywhere I go, I advocate this, especially in corporates, that sustainability is not a cost center. Sustainability is a profit center. If you are able to do the right project, if you're able to identify the right problem, and if you're able to implement it properly, you are actually adding to the bottom line and top line. And I have personally seen this. I've implemented projects where there is a significant amount of savings in projects, sustainability projects. Simple thing, energy savings, water saving, everything is a cost. The cost of non-compliance, right? So if you put together everything, then it is something, actually it's an opportunity. And going ahead, if the corporates, they look this as an opportunity, there will be huge amount of change will happen. And this will actually change the landscape, this will change the mindset, and also this will also lead to decarbonizing the way we want to do it. Coming to the infrastructure and other areas, actually we also need to look at the core issues. What is that? Today I am using cement, for example. I am using steel. Can I decarbonize cement and steel? Yes, it is possible. I need to collaborate with the cement manufacturer. I need to collaborate with the steel manufacturers. And today there are technologies available. Steel is made with hydrogen. It is done at experimental level, but it is possible. Cement, there is a huge movement in cement to decarbonize from 0.7 tons of CO2 per ton of cement. Now they are looking at 0.3 tons. If we get that kind of cement, which is eco-friendly, definitely at a cost that is affordable, definitely we can use it. So there is this, the concept of understanding, going to deep into the subject, understanding the problem, and then identifying the opportunities, identifying the technologies, you can do it. So, development is required, especially in a country like India. We have to develop. So today, look at the infrastructure that is happening. It's actually, it gives so much of positive vibes across the country. So development has to happen. There has to be proper infrastructure, because then only we can, feed nearly 140 crores people, and also we can become a developed nation. But the thing is that, how do we make this balance? And I can clearly understand how you are coming from where you are coming. That how do we make this balance of development versus environment? And in my experience, my understanding, it is absolutely possible. You can actually merge these two, and you can have a middle path where you can, create a proper harmony or synchrony, and we can do anything that is required. So, in a nutshell, I think what is required is the willpower, the involvement of people at the top, at the middle, and the bottom, and also making a proper planning and implementing it, and then execute and then delivering it. So I think the Indian companies are also geared up for this. For example, BRSR. BRSR is the Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting Framework of SEBI. It is already making huge amount of change in the Indian corporate sectors. So I'm sure that a lot more things will change in coming few years ahead.
Yeah, I think measurable goals and like you said, the reporting has to be there. The reportage when it goes from companies, when they are writing their reports, when they are submitting the numbers, I think that is measurable, and that's how you figure how dedicated a corporate is in bringing about that change. Whenever we talk about a change, it is always about people. Yeah, it is people who will come together. You can say it is a policy matter, you can say the government has to do it, but at the end of the day, it has to be a community effort, and it has to be people who are coming together. With Fuel, you are sitting with a lot of youngsters, and the youngsters are woke, and they are interested in a lot of subjects that are making them make decisions about where they want to work, who they want to be with, who do they want to be aligned with. Do you feel that feeling of a community is much larger in the youth at the moment, and perhaps that needs to be leveraged by companies, policymakers, government, in saying that, all right, come, work with us, you have the energy, you have the understanding now, and we will upskill you and we will skill you in making a change.
Thank you, Mugdha. Very interesting point. In fact, a lot of young people have a lot of energy and passion. They are looking for right platform to get that aspiration going. And while Pankajji has given me a great offer, and you have kind of taken me to the offer, actually there is a huge business of connecting the offers. Because the corporate social responsibility in India, the mandatory law which has been passed by the government from 2014, allows 22,000 crores to be spent on philanthropy capital. And although that is 1 month GST collection, equivalent to the 1 year CSR capital, but the person who is filling the GST form is also a skilled Indian. So skilling and making India Atmanirbhar. And when you have leaders like Harshita ji here, I think that's what young people need. If you have a right leader in front of you who aspire for your community growing, then community can take that further. And corporates like, for example, L&T has been doing a pioneering work in the space of social responsibility too. So corporate is looking for a solution, there is a problem, and there is youth who wants that solution to be taken. How do you bridge this gap? It happen in a way that these young people go and aspire for future. Right. Entrepreneurial efforts which all the nations are doing, including skill ministry for basically skilling the youth. So it's quite a different initiative altogether. Our Prime Minister is advocating Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is also an indication that all young people need to channelize their energy and passion, and then overall bringing this ecosystem up. So the challenge which social organizations or social entrepreneurs are facing, and I would like your attention also, the way we celebrate the EdTech startups or the way we celebrate the valuations, we should also celebrate the values which these organizations like Lions are bringing to the table. So do we have a social stock exchange which is coming up,
yes,
which will list companies like Lions or us, wherein corporates will think, okay, if we invest in them, we are also creating community impact on the ground.
Absolutely.
And let's celebrate Pankajji's local Lion grassroots as equivalent to the EdTech startup in the Economic Times with his valuation of people impacting more than 1 crore. Yeah. So that's what India needs. Yeah. And I think that's where young people are looking at you.
Wonderful. Social stock exchanges are my favorite subject, and but for another day. But the concept of a social stock exchange, if you actually look at it, it is that people who are invested in the cause are only supporting those who are seen as doing something relevant to push that cause, right? And we are also seeing a lot of technology being developed now in line with sustainability goals. Anjit, if I may ask you, what are some of the future trends and innovations that you see from across the world that is happening in your area of work? And do we also look at some collaborations like that? Because you also mentioned that, there are now, what's that called, the big cat countries?
Alliance.
Yeah, the cat alliance. Yeah, something on those lines. So do we see that in other areas as well, that some of the collaborations working like that?
There are a lot of issues in when you want technology collaboration. One is people are very scared to share. That is a very, because if it is a cutting edge thing, people are thinking of patenting, they're thinking of so many other things. So sharing is a big issue. But having said that, once a technology is matured to some extent, it is already there in the market, then building on that also is a great way to progress. And unfortunately, very many of the technologies is not there in India. It doesn't originate out of India. And when it is originating out of somewhere else, it's very difficult to collaborate and build on that if you talk of cutting edge technology. But if you talk of execution of things using that technology, yes, there is lot of scope. But I think India, the intellectual capital exists. I mean, if you want a very radical view, all the people working in these labs should be perforce sent to rural areas and, make them stay there for not much time. 10-15 days is more than enough to get them sensitized to what the real problems are.
Develop that empathy.
Develop that empathy, and, most of the times the solutions are there with them. They don't know where to apply it. And that's where, unless they get that exposure, and, it is never going to happen. I mean, I can just talk of my own case. I mean, for donkey's years, I was working on this tech without absolutely any knowledge that this could actually be used in the rural areas. And after I have seen that what can be done with the tech, after that I have got 4 patents. Which is again, that's what is should be this thing. And if I hadn't by chance gone to that village and seen this, it would have not happened, or it would have happened in some other way. So that is, the exposure is very much required, more than the technology as such, because most of them exist.
That brings us to, again, the whole concept of there are privileged, there is not so privileged, there is underprivileged. So even your sustainability goals, even your development and equity goals then are so different when you're talking about these 3 different stratas. And to know that empathy, to deal with that empathy and then work on those goals, I think that is also one of the things that we need to actively work on, which is give other Indians.
Just add in one thing there.
Absolutely.
Once you see them, it's absolutely impossible to not have empathy.
Yeah. No, that's true. Very, very true. Because now I'm sure my human clocks will start saying that, all right, time to wrap up. But, this conversation can go on forever. So, I'm just going to get some parting thoughts. How do we prioritize the whole bottom line philosophy of people, planet, and profit, and then work with this whole Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and one earth and one planet, that notion? How do we get it all together?
We know the basic reason of all these challenges came up, like climate change, tax and other things, is the biggest interference in the natural cycle by human beings. And once identifying that, the reversing that damages is the goal for the measures to be taken. The central government as well as state government has already taken reforms in their policies, like integrated water resource management, flood management, drought management. Similarly or parallelly, we can say water literacy, as you have rightly pointed out.
Water literacy, I like that word. Yeah.
So that is most important. We must know how much water is actually available, and at different spatial scales, right from your household to your society, to the city, to basin level, river basin level, state level, and then how to manage the available water within that efficiently. Again, there are many other tools like water budgeting, water auditing, and even the recycled water. It's a new source which will actually reduce the fresh water demand, and we can make more water available for the other purposes. agriculture sector is a major, which is consuming almost 70% of the fresh water. So there is the area where we can work in a better way. And finally, a 3-point system I would like to suggest to really have this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam concept to come into realization. First is we need to learn to honor our Mother Nature. We have already distorted a lot. Other impacts also we are facing. Second tool is about this integration from all the sectors for the water management part. And lastly, the latest challenge we are facing, the climate change impact. So the preparedness for that. So if we go on these, of course, the government are with us along with their policies and reforms. And with all these sectors coming together, we can give this, our Mother Earth, in a better way for the new generations.
Fantastic. 3 top advice, 3 to 4 top advice that you think that can be given to corporates and communities as well.
See, when we talk about sustainability of ecosystems, we are talking about basically ecological security of the country. The structure that we have at the moment is there are some protected areas and there are areas beyond protected areas. So we have around roughly 3 to 4% of the area that is marked as a protected area of the country. Right. So I think whatever development we want to do, I think we should leave that area alone. Okay. And we can plan around it. That is one thing. Second thing is we should understand the centrality of communities, the contribution of communities for that. The communities that are living around those areas, they may be one of the poorest, but they are the ones who have protected that. And they are the ones who are living around those areas. They are the ones who are, you can say, the base of whatever security that we want to achieve. Right. So we need to keep their goodwill intact. It is very easy to destroy wildlife or our natural resources. We have examples of developed countries in front of us. So there are hardly any wildlife there, barring few big countries. And our country has got such a, you can say, it's a hotspot of biodiversity, despite so much population, so much of challenges that we face. So that is all because of our communities. So we need to take care of them, and we should share the burden of that kind of security that they provide. So that, as you talked about urban and rural divide, so this is also one kind of divide. They are sharing that burden disproportionately. Right. They are suffering for, say, lack of infrastructure development because of these forest and wildlife areas. They are having damages that affecting their livelihood. You would be astonished to know that around 300 million people in our country, they depend directly or indirectly on forest for their livelihood. It's a big number. Okay. So I think we need to understand this centrality of this thing. You have kept community in the center, so that is very good. But we need to live that. And when we talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam as a concept, we need to understand that they are the ones who are living it. And we are trying to aspire to that level. And the practices, the lifestyle that they have already adopted, if we can take part of that, I think we will do a great job. Good amount of good.
That's a great thought. That's a great thought, in fact. Centrality on communities, and communities that are doing great work needs to be pushed. And that brings me to give the last word to the community that is doing great work.
Yeah, well, I'm nobody to like the way the experts are advising. I won't say about that. But from my talk, you'll get something. Like somebody was asking me today, we were sitting in the room, that you work full-time for Lionism, something like this. Are you working full-time in Lionism? I said, no. We don't work full-time. Our first priority is, of course, family, then business, and then Lionism. But then the question arises that, what is the driving force for the NGO like us, the Lions like us? And I say, our motto, we serve, drives us. Then Sangeeta ji said, wherever there is a need, there is a lion. And third most important, the driving force for we Lion is, kindness matters. So I think Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam you're talking about, or anything we are referring to, kindness matters is imbibed and understood. I think the solution of sustainability and development, a lot of it goes hand in hand. Thank you, Muktaji. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being wonderful audience. And all right, I see some hands going up. Do we have time for questions? All right. Okay. Oh my God, there's many questions. So perhaps we can start with the gentleman there. Although I did see the lady's hand go the first. So if yeah.
Hi. Thank you so much. My name is Sneha Churi. One thing that I've realized during our entire discussion, that whenever it's about ecology and economy always gets an upper hand, right? And here we heard a speaker speak about the fact that sustainability is a mindset. So if this entire journey of 1,000 steps starts with that one single step, how do we bring about a change in mindset? Thank you.
Kidan, you want to take that?
You're
working with a lot of youngsters who are perhaps at a place where the mindset development needs to start there. But do you want to take that question?
The first thing which I learned is never change the mindset of young people. They will have their own values, ecosystem. You let them do what they want. Because if you're going to try and test them and ask them to change, then they are going to feel, oh, that's difficult to do. So allow them to think on their own. As sir was mentioning, give them exposure and experimentation. And like how we have medical doctors compulsory having an internship at the end of their medicine, perhaps we don't have that for other careers. Maybe involve other careers in the same way, where we give the exposure of rural India, and then the mindset will automatically change, in the sense it will change as per their own empathy. So we have to look for a solution where young people experiment themselves, make themselves available, and then change according to their needs. I think that's what we need. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And the conflict that you mentioned about economy and ecology, it is actually a conflict of time frame. If you understand the damage that we do and we try to restore that, it is probably going to cost us a lot more than what we can do in the beginning to factor in.
Yeah. All right, the gentleman there. Yes.
Thank you, great food for thought. My question is similar to what this young lady just asked. We all want to enjoy the fruits of development. We don't want to take blame for all the mess that we create. I think we had Mr. Mukherjee talking about sensitizing. If we are able to do that, for example, we all want to buy iPhones, we want to buy fancy cars, but the kind of carbon footprints it creates, are we even aware of that? Are we even aware, are we willing to accept we are part of the problem? Only then we will be able to think about a solution. So if somebody can, how do we get more aggressive in accepting that, okay, fine, the mess starts with me, or ye kachra mujhe saaf karna.
Who would want to take that question?
You can take it, sir.
Yeah. See, I think this is something where you need to build everything into the educational system. So couple of months back, there was a op-ed in I think ET, and I was talking about the ESG capacity in India. There is no capacity of ESG in India. If you want to count the number of people who are working on sustainability for last 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you can count them. So what is required is that today everybody knows that climate change is a problem. Nothing to argue. Everybody knows that resource efficiency is a problem. Nothing to argue. Now the thing is that we need to build this into the primary education, mid-level education, secondary education. Then slowly this change will happen. Unless you do that, suppose the children, they feel that getting gadgets, very expensive mobile, sitting in an expensive car is that is what life is, and suppose they don't realize the cost of carbon for each of these gadgets or each of these things they are using in daily life, they will never be able to implement anything in their adult life. So I think it's important that we understand that, and I think this new education policy in a way is trying to build that into the educational system, so that when the children of today become adult, they will be able to understand and implement the things that is required for the country. So I mean, you cannot, like my friend said, you cannot force change. You know, you have to do it in a systematic way, in a strategic way, and in a way so that you, at the end of the day, you get the outcome. You know, otherwise, you know, it will be all like thinking and doing nothing. So I think we all are changing. The Indian society is changing. The consciousness is changing. And when you see the young people, they're also, there are a lot of studies which says that many of the young generation people, they want to work in companies which are sustainability driven. You know, that's a big change happening. So I'm sure that this thing will help us in next couple of years, in a decade, to become a sustainable society. And, you know, as Indians, we are always, you know, we are there where we create examples and we set, examples, and everybody looks up on us. So I think this is the best time to make that kind of change.
All right, sir here. So do you have a microphone? Oh. Last question? All right, last question. I'm so sorry about that, but yes, sir.
Mukherjee Saab, you said about the water conservation and other things about the water in villages. Lions are already working maybe in eastern part of India that we are providing them the safe water. But these days I've seen some of the projects in Delhi, in some of the religious institutions, people have installed alkaline water plants, water systems. What do you say that how can we contribute for water conservation? How can we contribute for safe water? Our Prime Minister is also given a call for Har Ghar Mein Jal, Har Ghar Mein Nal. And how can the Lions contribute to this drive? And we all leaders of this area are sitting here and we are thriving to do something in this area. But please guide us how to go ahead. Thank you.
Thanks. In fact, I would take up your offer. I can make a detailed presentation to your board, or if you have a central body, and I can talk in details about what I do, and I can also tell you my personal views on what is exactly happening. But as a short answer for now, for safe water, what we work on is actually to kill microbes. So that will eliminate diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, dysentery. That actually eliminates 90% of the waterborne disease problem, which is huge. In India alone, there is 38 million cases of waterborne diseases every single year. 1.5 million kids die due to diarrhea alone before they reach the age of 5. 74 million work days are lost every single year. This is the, the
data set, yes.
The status of the problem in India. Worldwide, around 3 to 4 billion out of 7.5 billion, 3 to 4 billion don't have safe water. So, in fact, what I have actually invented, it's gone to some African nations through the government of India. Also, it is going to other states in India. But I would think, there are so many things which we are really doing wrong. One of them, if I may use this forum to say, is using RO. RO is 60% water you're wasting. You're segregating 60% of the bad things and putting it in surface water. That's what we are doing. And surface water is for the cattle. So what are we talking about? Plus, where do you dispose of the membranes? So huge things. Chlorination. Chlorination, you always over-chlorinate, which is totally carcinogenic. Totally. And that is actually allowed by WHO. I have no idea how something can be done like that. You drink any water, I mean, we are staying in Bombay. You drink tap water straight out, you will realize that it has got overdoses of chlorine. It smells of it.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of issues. I'm not saying that, these things have been done knowingly. This was probably the best solution at that point, at some point of time. But now, world has moved forward, but everyone has to move forward with it. So I can make a full presentation, a whole day presentation on this. But
May I add?
Can I add something, Mukdaji, on this? Continuing what Mr. JP Singh asked you the question, just to tell you in this part in Mumbai, this year we have installed 31 water filtration plant. I mean, CSR is Tata machine, it is Tata plant it is. And about, I think, 35,000 students are now getting a clean drinking water. But when I read your things, what you are doing, I think it is much beneficial in cost terms and other things. And I think what he has very much asked the question, if you can give a proposal and work out on it, I think we would be too happy, I mean, to get into it.
I'll be very happy to make a presentation to you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
In fact, let me also add, the government of India has also taken a big stand in this. The Ministry of Panchayati Raj, they have given us a letter saying that our reactor, we call it a reactor, the Maji Taraltek reactor, can be fitted in anywhere in India using 15th Finance Commission grants. So it's basically free.
Two things I would like to just add to the suggestion for the Lions Club to work with. There are two government schemes. One is the water conservation scheme, Jalyukta Shivar, you might be heard about that. A series of bandaras can be constructed on a nala or in a watershed to increase the water table.
That GR is no more implemented, sir.
Yes, I'm talking about that only. I know that that mission was failure before. So from the failures we learned and we have improved on that. It has to be some scientific approach, basic designs. So in that way we can certainly work in the water conservation sector. And secondly, there is another scheme, desilting of the small tanks and putting that silt, fertile silt into the agro farms. So there are two schemes which are fully funded by the government. Even not from the Lions Club, you can certainly make a community participation happen in that schemes, and government and Lions Club can work together very nicely in the water conservation.
Wonderful. One last question from there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right.
Friends,
okay. We'll take those two questions.
As the title goes, sustainability, we are discussing agenda of today for better tomorrow. That means we have challenges. Unless until we have challenges, we won't be deliberate all these things, and they are collaboration, control, commitment, and communication. These four issues I see as challenges for the sustainability. How we can address this problem, that is the one thing. And second, the sir mentioned about the villages. I too, sir, nowadays move in so many villages. There is a lot of huge problems are there of water, education, medical, and in some parts commutation also. So how we can solve, because we always believe that Hindustan gaon mein rehta hai. I visited so many villages. Infrastructure is a national highway, state highway. The moment you enter the villages, so infrastructure problem is there, water, really great problem. In one village I went there, he asked me for some plastic tank. I said, why? He said, we get water only once in a week. So we need to store the water. So these are the issues, how to approach these issues. Because we are simply moving in a peripheral area, we don't go to inner circle. So that's my question, sir.
Who would want to?
Again,
The water resource.
The same solution is there about the water conservation only. Unless whatever the water is available in villages, of course it is a small quantity. In major cities we provide more water. But whatever availability is there in a particular area, we have to conserve and manage it in a better way and make the recycling, reusing for the same quantity of water. This is the only solution.
I think gentlemen also spoke about the crisis of communication in these communities that are not, All right. The youth, yes, one question from there, please.
Right. Good evening to the entire esteemed panel. I basically here represent the youth wing also of Lions, which is called LEOs. It's an age bracket of around people working from the age of 18 to 30 for community service, which honestly speaking has been of great interest. These days people coming out of colleges also are really happy and forefront in terms of wanting to help the community. Now what we do is we on a year-long basis we actually conduct 1300 LEOs actually in the entire district of A3 conduct projects which are related to sustainability, things like beach cleanups. We do things like tree plantations, mangrove resurrections, placing of dustbins, and eco-cleanliness drives. We do all of those things. But one of the major problems that the youth always faces is the scalability of the projects. Now, we as a substantial amount of quantity in certain areas end up doing projects at a great level. But technically speaking, we've not been able to upscale the projects to a level wherein it can actually infect the amount of impact we want to. Two things we did. One was LIFE, which is inspired by the Niti Aayog, which is obviously something that has been done by the central government of India. So we employed the concept of LIFE, which is Life for Sustainable Development. All of us basically do our bit. And the second thing was we made everyone create project reports with regards to all these projects so that we can send them across to CSRs. What my question is, how can the youth directly get in touch with the CSRs even after researching and making project reports with regards to what you guys are inclined to? The project reports are not able to get to the CSRs. I believe if we can actually get this particular bridge gapped, the youth can participate a lot more when it comes to sustainable development for India.
Sure. Can I take
I think first they need to speak to Pankaj.
I would like to answer your question. Yeah. I mean, as far as Mugdha, the LEOs are concerned, I always consider that when we talk about LEO, it is an opportunity they get to experience a leadership, and that is what exactly he was talking about. Relating to your question that you're talking about the kind of work you are doing, and in terms of scalability, you're talking about how to approach a CSR and have a direct come. That is what you meant, I think you're trying to ask me
how
that.
do they scale up? And it's not just about Leo, but any young community.
Well, young community, as a youth he's talking about.
Yes.
So when you're talking about a CSR, there are certain protocols, certain things that to be understood, that when a corporate and CSR giving a fund, to whom, how it's going to be managed, the transparency, a lot of other things are involved over there. And that's how the parent lines body come into picture. I think as a Leo, if that question specifically asked to me, I would suggest getting in touch with the parents like us and see how it can work, and we can together approach a CSR. And if the feasibility of the report is there, the project that you're trying to do, if the feasibility is there, it can definitely work. Like for example, we just spoke about a small project of what do you call, the clean water, drink water. If that is feasible, we can definitely approach some CSR, combined with lines in the picture. It can be executed 100%.
Mr. Singh, you want to chime in?
I hope you have settled the answer. This is what you're looking for.
I understand the concept of Leos approaching the Lions to get the CSR.
No, that's fine. We got your point, and that's absolutely all right.
Saying something. Yeah.
No. I think Leos or any young adults definitely have the right to directly approach the corporates or anybody who could support them.
Right.
I mean, I would believe that the youngsters today in our country are brilliant, and there are brilliant minds working, and you should have a direct approach or a direct inroad and a direct pathway to the corporates. There's just no doubt about it. Yeah. And this is a personal view. This is purely a personal view. And I mean, there's nothing else such that we can tell you how we can do, but this is a very important question that you've raised, a very important point for discussion. Maybe we will take it up at our levels and maybe suggest to you what could be your pathways for directly approaching, and that's absolutely okay.
Fantastic.
Just to add one point, because I work a lot with CSR, firstly, I appreciate young people taking initiative. That's what we need. And you are very good in social media. So your tweets, Insta, should go to the right authorities. The first thing, please share your project reports to the wider social media base, because we have seen that a lot of these board functions also take decisions, what is the wider perception, opinion of the community.
People in the masses,
so
yes.
Before we take any projects, we have to compulsory go and do the need assessment. So if you are doing that need assessment, don't get disheartened because somebody is not funding you at that moment of time. Maybe that maturity of cycle of the project, problem, project execution, proposal will come. But what's interesting is if university social responsibilities, which you are doing by doing your education together, if we can have a credit framework for your project work and then scaling it, what was your question? Examples like where young people have taken initiative and gone and scaled are many. So don't get disheartened. Even an organization which is not registered but a movement gets the funds if your initiative is correct.
Fantastic.
And one such example is me.
I'll tell you something, just to add, the 20,000 crores is available today on CSR. That's the last estimate. I do not know the current figure, 20,000 crores. Many people, they connect. I get connections almost every day on LinkedIn, that about the kind of projects they want to work on and things like that. Just write, simple. I can, if I cannot do it, I can connect you with somebody else. So the thing is that things have said, just connect and you can, explore that. There's huge amount of opportunity available.
By connect, we mean relentlessly email, relentlessly put it out there, all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we only have time for this much. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking our time and for those insights and deliberations. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sangeeta. Thank you.
Making it so wonderful.
You can have a,
how time passes.
yeah. You can have a picture,
Yeah.
I think.
We will do all of that. Before that, we would like to really thank you, each one of you, for taking out time, coming here, sharing your ideas, sharing your skill sets, and most importantly, guiding us. Because definitely, this conversation is not going to waste. This is going to be the starting point of more conversations, we hope, partnerships, so that corporate, community, sustainable development goals all work together. And today we are so grateful to each one of you for spending that time, coming together. And before we do the group photograph, which is really very important, we would like to say thank you to you. Today to our gentleman who is our line leader, who has taken out all the time and put this entire program together. I would like to thank our past council chairperson, Hanuman Agarwal, for doing a fantastic job. And may I request you to come forward and please thank and felicitate our panelist, Ketan Deshpande ji, please. May I also request our council chairperson, Khwaja Mudassar ji, to please come forward. Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi, if you would please. District Governor Sanjay Churi, District Governor Mukesh Taneja, and District Governor Hemant ji, would you please come forward? Mr. Anjan Mukherjee, if you would, Sanjay Churi ji. Two individuals who supported everything, Manish Ladage ji and Akshay Ladage, would you please come forward? Manish and Akshay ji.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, come, sir.
May I request our past director, Raju Manwani, if you would please come and thank our great moderator. We were so happy to have you back again, and I hope we see you again, because today
I
is
feel
just
more like the Lions team.
You are, you definitely are.
Thank you so much. Thank
This
you.
is the second of our roundtable discussions,
Thank you.
and the third one is going to be held in Bangalore on 29th of May, and then on 9th of June in New Delhi. So we look forward to seeing you all. Do not miss the airings which have been done on the YouTube channel of CNBC, and soon you will hear that we are going to be telecasting this on CNBC TV18, and you will hear when they're going to be done in June. So thank you everybody for coming together, for making this possible, and most importantly to all the organizers for making this show so wonderful. We have high tea waiting outside for all of you. Do enjoy the networking, the little refreshments, and for the last word to our coordinator, Hanuman Agarwal.
Thank you very much, madam. Friends, all our past and current international directors are present here. On behalf of all of you, I would like to felicitate them one by one. Please. My team, Manish. Sir, please. I request all our directors to please come on dais. Please wait for 2 minutes, only for 2 minutes.